Good evening, everybody, and welcome to Fluxta Video Games. Play some Fluxtaposed. I don't know. Either way, that's right, boys and ghouls. This is the only gaming podcast with the ultimate mashup of Frankenstein's monster of a show, where the worlds of PSVG and Fluxtaposed cross paths to do what, Jason?
Drink your milkshake. Eli?
There you go. There you go. That's what you're going to get, folks. It's either going to be the best episode or the worst episode, depending on how you look on it. But either way, it's I, your host, Kevin. With us is Donnie. Hello, Donnie.
Greetings, Koopalings.
Yeah, Donnie's a little sick, so you didn't get your enthusiastic response there from Donnie.
That's
but
not illness.
He's here.
That's the Nintendo Switch hangover.
Oh, it is. But he's here, and that's all that matters. He's dedicated. So that surly voice you just heard is none other than Jason Lacey. How are we doing, sir?
I am excellent. Thank you for asking. That's very polite of you to do that. You know,
I try to be accommodating. I try.
Yes.
And last but not least, making his first appearance on the show, but you're probably familiar with his voice anyway, is Mr. Lucas Rose. How are we doing, Lucas?
Hello, friends. Doing well. Glad to be here.
Awesome. And we're glad to have you on. Finally, it's been a long time coming.
Yes.
So before we jump into the show, let's talk a little bit about what we've been up to, what we've been playing, and we'll throw it to Jason first. Take it away, sir.
Oh, boy. Gosh, guys, I am still playing the same game I talked about last time, and it's freaking Super Mario and Luigi Dream Team. It just doesn't end. It doesn't end. I'm past the 40-hour mark,
Wow.
and I still haven't finished this dang thing. And I'm not even going through I looked it up, the how long to beat, and I think it was in the 30s, in the 30 hours. And then if you're for completionists, it's in the 40s. And I'm by no means trying to do all the little collectibles and things like that, but I don't know why it's taking me so long. I do regret they have the leveling up system, and then when you hit a certain level, you rank up, and then you get to select a certain unlock power-up, so to speak. And I'm really regretting the couple of them that I picked, because I think it would have really shortened the game. Because since I got this from GameFly, there was that one save file ahead of me, and that guy was level 40 with 32, 33 hours put forth, and I'm at 42 hours, and I'm at level 35 or so. But it's just so I'm really regretting the choice that I didn't get the fast level up perk. But oh well. I'm finally at Bowser's Castle, so I'm assuming that the end is nigh. I'm on the 3rd floor, and it's each floor is just rinse and repeat of the first floor. It's get here. There's a cage. You have to unlock the cage, and then enter the stream world, and then do it all over again. And it's been a fun game, but there's definitely what I would like to describe as filler. A lot of just stretching out filler, and it's I want it to be done. I want it to be done. It's like that my last review, where when it's finally over, I'm not going to feel accomplished. I'm just going to have a sense of relief.
You should start over and do that fast level up perk instead.
Yeah, right. I was really hoping to get Paper Jam as well, but that's definitely, I picked a game that's going to take forever. So that's one game. Once again, my GameFly cheap subscription, I'm only going to get one game out of the deal. And what's that?
It was only $1 though, so it's not too bad.
So it was worth it. Yeah, it was definitely worth it. I got my money's worth for sure. And I have been playing Twisted Fusion as a review I'm working on for the site. A Wii U exclusive that was kickstarted a while back. It's described as a open world platformer, I think. It's kind of got slightly Metroidvania, but not really. And at least in the way that you're going to traverse back and forth across places. But hopefully I'll have that finished up by next week, and you can check out my full thoughts on the old website.
Excellent. All right then, Donnie, we're off to you, sir. What's been going on over there in Donnie land?
Strep throat. Came down with strep throat this week. Had to go to the doctor, get some shots, get some meds. I've been sitting at home ever since, so got that bittersweet time to play some video games, but you're also you don't feel good enough to even play. So you're sitting there am I gonna play or not? I did a lot of gaming yesterday. I did a little bit today, but to be honest with you, today I've just been I feel better. I'm my throat doesn't hurt anymore, and I'm not like coughing as much as I was and everything. But now I'm just tired. It's like now I just feel like I need to sleep for like 15 hours. I beat Gears of War.
Nice.
Got through all the campaign. Did that. Really, really good game. 2/3 through it. Probably was my game of the year pick. And then it really just kind of dragged out. It's really good though. Looks really good. Looks great. The end is nuts. Is anybody gonna play it?
I probably won't.
Yeah, I don't.
Nah.
I haven't. I've thought back in like how many games I bought this year and what I plan to buy, which is nothing. So there's so many things like I'm like, oh, I want to play that, but then like any game I buy, that just takes away Switch money, and that
Switch money.
It just doesn't make sense. Doesn't make sense. Did you play co-op at all, Donnie, or did you just play single?
I played single player. I'm pretty sure I'm terrible at Gears. I'd hate to bring somebody's team down. I say that I was watching somebody play and I was like, I'm not that bad. But it was a good story. It was fine. The story was okay. It really introduced the new characters. Anytime they kind of reboot anything that you're grown accustomed to, like I always feel like I'm gonna hate the new characters. These I don't, even though like a lot of their lines are corny and cheesy. They're fine. Like they fit into the universe really well. The way they kind of weave the old and the new works, and the journey overall is really good. My biggest takeaway is the game looks like it was made by Naughty Dog. Just from a visual, like a style. The style is very akin to something you'd see like in The Last of Us or Uncharted. Like there's a lot of walls that have foliage and leaves and moss and ivy that are covering them that are like whistling in the wind, and there's like a lot of particle effects, and the buildings that you go to are like torn down, and there's a lot of like debris and rubble on the ground and stuff like that. By far, I think the best looking game I've played on Xbox One. It just kind of got long in the tooth. It was a long game. I was sitting there with strep throat. I think I started on it maybe like around 10. And I probably played it for like 9 hours until I beat it just all day because I was just sick and had nothing better to do. So I just sat there and I was like, I'm going to beat this game today. And, but it was really good. Spoilers, the end, you end up in a giant mech. So if at any point you think that sounds like something that interests you, I would definitely tell you to go get it. I played some Horde, which is always fun. It's always great fun. And the online, the game runs incredibly well. Like, that's the best thing you say about the game is almost flawless in terms of mechanics. I mean, it's Gears. Everything runs smoothly. You run as fast as you want, shoot as fast as you want. Like, I didn't experience any trouble online, any trouble in the campaign, nothing. No frame rate drops, nothing. It's just beautiful. The game just performs remarkably. I finally got my Horizon club, so I'm finally in the PSVG club. I think I'm the 8th or 9th person to make it there. I still don't really understand how you do it. You just have to get a certain amount of fans. And everybody keeps telling me you have to like unlock a certain amount of festivals or expand a certain amount of festivals. I don't know. You just keep doing races until you get there. So I finally got there. Got the little PSVG tag. So I'm still cruising around every so often in that game. This week marks... Let's see here. What's the exact date? This week marks the first week since November 18th, 2012 that my family does not own a Nintendo Wii U.
Can we play taps here, please?
Yeah, we'll just insert that right there.
It is the end of an era, gentlemen. As a strong, huge proponent of the Wii U gaming system, I have sadly turned mine over to GameStop for a bunch of credit that I will put towards my Switch, or as Switch money. And Jason Lacey has already deemed it. Getting me some Switch money. As I kind of mentioned on our Switch podcast that we had, our Nintendo Shack, my kids were on board with it. I was telling them, I was like, is this something you want to do? Do you think about trading some stuff in? They're looking at ports coming to 3DS. We're looking at, looks like ports coming to the Switch. And you guys know me. I got a quick trigger finger. And I was like, this thing was never going to be more valuable than it is today. And boy, was I right. Even the GameStop manager was like, Jesus, you couldn't get half this if you sold this on eBay. I made a killing. Now, everybody seen Dante's Peak?
Yeah.
Okay.
Not recently, but yeah.
Yeah, here's a segue for you. You remember the analogy where he talks about like boiling a frog? He's like, if you throw a frog in hot water, it'll jump out.
Yep.
But if you put the frog in there and slowly turn it up, he'll just sit there and boil. That's how I felt when I was packing up my Wii U. That thing took like 2 hours to pack. Dude, I had wheels and remotes and game pads and GameCube joy pads, and I just had junk, man, boxes of stuff. It took forever just to pack and to get all the wires and everything. I was like, man, how did all of this get here? Like, when did my Wii U become all of this? And that's not even counting Amiibo. So the footprint has definitely slimmed down. So we're sitting on a large amount of credit for the Switch. I will have no problems getting a Switch and all the games I want. Probably could get 2 Switches if the price is kind of where I think it's going to be and all the games I want. Yeah. So what we did to kind of make the pill easier to swallow is we kind of doubled down on the 3DS, and we just grabbed some more games. And we grabbed Yoshi's New Island, which my daughter's playing, and Cookin' Mama, Bon Appetit, which she's a big fan of. And I grabbed New Super Mario Bros. 2, the 2D side-scroller. And I grabbed Lego Star Wars The Force Awakens. And I got it for 3DS. I think it's interesting because I've played Lego Batman and Lego Jurassic Park on 3DS, and they kind of suck. I mean, have you guys played... I don't even know, Lucas. Do you even have a 3DS?
No,
just
sir.
all PC, right? Yeah.
Yep.
Jason, Kevin, you guys do the Lego games?
No, I don't like them on the 3DS, so I stick to them on the consoles.
I don't own a single Lego game, oddly enough.
I have played Lego games, just not on 3DS. They have some for PC.
Where Kevin was going with, they're not really good on 3DS is something I would actually, champion. They've always been kind of bad, and they're really bad ports, and they don't run well and don't play well. This one does, which is why I wanted to bring it up. This one actually does run and play well. It looks good. All of the cutscenes are there. Like, the voiceover is ripped straight from the movie, and the open world is there, and like the new Lego Star Wars game has like a hide behind cover shoot mechanic. It's there. I even had a problem with a puzzle, and I went and found a PS4 guide, the exact same puzzle, so it looks like the exact same level from the PS4. Granted, the PS4 one's going to look better because it's 1080p and all that, but it's a remarkable game. I got it for $15, brand new. It was on sale. And overall, I'm really enjoying it. I got through Jakku, and I love how Lego always plays on, the movies that they rip off. And in this one, it's great. They've got Poe Dameron. Kylo's got Poe Dameron. And in the movie, he's interrogating him, trying to get, where the droid is out of his mind. And in this game, he's got him upside down. He's tickling his feet with like a feather. He's like, tell me where he is. It was really good. I have an update. Maybe somebody from PlayStation listens to our show. Last week I mentioned how I'd been going in this revolving circle with PlayStation support, and how I pre-ordered Call of Duty so I could play Call of Duty Modern Warfare 30 days early. And I went through 2 pre-orders and still couldn't get the game to unlock. And I called, and I emailed, and I chatted, and chat sent me to email, and email sent me to call again. And I have a number, and I followed up on that number and everything. I came home 2 days ago. It's just sitting on the PS4. I can play it now. I've already canceled my pre-orders, both of them. I've ordered on Xbox. They didn't follow up. I don't have an email. Nobody gave me a call. My ticket on the site still open, not resolved. It's just sitting there. I can play it. So maybe somebody listened and got that done, or maybe I don't know how it happened. I don't know what happened, but I still haven't played it, so it doesn't matter. That's how I've been. Sorry for the lack of enthusiasm, but yeah, that's been my week.
Alrighty then. Well, I guess I'll go next then. So, a couple things I've been playing. I mentioned it in the last podcast, where the review is now finally up for Pirate Pop Plus on the 3DS, which Donnie encouraged me to play it. Didn't really hear anything about it ahead of time. He's just like, hey, this game's coming out. We're going to do a review for it from the makers of Runbow. Think you should check it out. Be up your alley. So, enjoyed the heck out of that game. I mean, the first thing I said, I think the first line of my review is, what does Tetris, Dr. Mario, and Pirate Pop Plus all have in common? It's just pure retro game arcade perfection. It was so good. So much fun with it. There's not much point to it. You run around the screen, you pop the bubbles with like your anchor chain, which is more like a hook shot from Zelda. And the replay value's through the roof. You just keep going, trying to get farther and farther along, increase that score. There's not really any story. You just upgrade different upgrades, different weapons, different characters you can do. But it just reminded me so much of the games I used to spend so many AA batteries on my original Game Boy. So it was a ton of fun there. So my full review for that's on the site already. Finally wrapped up Batman Telltale Episode 2, just in time to find out Episode 3 is now out. So I'll keep chugging along there. Kind of put that in the back burner while I was reviewing some games. So I'm still ticking away at Animal Crossing because it's Halloween season. Although I keep finding myself forgetting to play and then going to my town at like 9 o'clock at night and the stores are all closed, so I can't get that sweet Halloween furniture. But I have some pieces. And then the last game I booted up this morning is another one some of the staff will be reviewing, but I have a code for it as well. And that was Lithium Inmate 39. So this was featured as one of the new games on the drop on the PlayStation blog. Didn't play too much of it. I streamed, I think, like the first 20 minutes on YouTube, and the first 20 minutes is me dying a lot. It could be best described as you're some sort of character that looks a lot like Dobby from the Harry Potter movies. And you're on like a bad acid trip or something, but you're some sort of insane person in an asylum who is trying to rebuild his memory to realize like what happened to him, where he came from. Like he's just pure delusional. And you go through this kind of like Saw-esque traps as you're trying to escape out of the asylum. Like there's, swinging blades from the walls and the floor drops out. And there's like all sorts of crazy things, electrocuted, like puddles. Like there's all these just crazy traps there and you're just trying to make your way through. And I'm intrigued. I don't know if I like it. I don't know if I don't like it yet. It's very, very early for me to decide on that, but it's got me interested, and it's just super hard. The controls are kind of wonky, as are most horror games, which I'm sure we'll talk about some later on. But it like movement is very much like the old Resident Evil games, where it's very clunky, very slow, and if you just tap something the wrong way just a little bit, you're dead. And it doesn't drop you like right back where you left off. So there's like numerous traps I had to do like 2 or 3 times over and over and over again to get to where I died the last time. So it's very hard so far. Graphically, it seems pretty cool. It's very dark, very weird. But more to come on that. So one of our new staffers will be doing the full review on that, and probably with a little bit of 2 cents from Seth and myself, who are also going to be playing it. So that's it for me. So Lucas, sir, the honor is yours. Take it away.
Oh, I shall. Well, let's start with I've been playing some WWE 2K16. Not enough sports titles on the PC anymore these days. So really, you've only got basketball, soccer, and wrestling, it seems like. And so I think I picked this up in a Humble Bundle one day, and I waited forever to install it because this thing is just a monster. It's like 58 gigabytes or something like that. So I was just like, okay, well, I never have any disk space anyway, so I'm just going to wait until I clear up some games or uninstall some stuff or whatever. So I finally installed it, and I played last year, so I wasn't really expecting too much of a difference. But I get attracted to them because I used to be into wrestling when I was much younger. So it's kind of like a lot of these superstars are still in the game today, which is nice to see. So it's kind of like going back and seeing some friends I haven't seen in a long time. I've been mostly doing the showcase mode, which is I don't know how long they've been doing it, but they had one last year where they just kind of highlight a career or moments in wrestling history. So there's a Hall of Fame mode that I've gotten through. It was pretty short, actually. And then there's Steve Austin mode where you just kind of go through certain points of his timeline, basically. So it's pretty fun.
Just stomping mud holes?
Yep, pretty much. The rattlesnake, going through and kicking ass and taking names. So I don't know, like playing through this, I kind of came in late, or was aware of him pretty late in his career, I feel like, or at least past where I'm at right now. So when I'm watching and playing and seeing like how these matches played out, because they play out like they really did. They've even gone to the trouble of putting in cutscenes from the actual show when it happened. So,
oh, wow.
I mean, he's stunning, putting the stunner on referees and all sorts of stuff. I'm like, this guy's kind of a jerk. He'll just, his tag team partner, he'll just stunner that guy, whatever. It doesn't matter. He was on a wrecking crew or something on a warpath. So
Does he stun Santa Claus? That's the most important one, though.
Oh, I don't think I've gotten that far yet. I'm not sure.
Hopefully he does. That would be great.
I will look forward to that, and if he does, I will let you know. So I played a little bit of that, and then of course you always got to check out the create a wrestler mode, right? The career, see what you got going on there. So I made myself in the game. I look ridiculous. You can take a picture of yourself and try to make the wrestler look like you. Of course, I'm not nearly as buff as my wrestler is, so this is real fantasy. Real fantasy. That's kind of like an oxymoron. So I've been playing through that, and it seems like they really updated it a bit since last year, because I felt like it was a little less. You just kind of floated around, and it sort of there wasn't really a direction to go into. It seems like here they kind of point you a little bit more in a career direction as opposed to just letting you float. So I kind of appreciated that. I haven't dug too deep into it, so I probably will. I'll probably end up making a few more wrestlers before I find something I like, though. So I got a few ideas working. So I like the characters. I don't like when wrestlers just show up in well, much like Steve Austin, black tights and black boots and
no gimmick.
Yeah, no gimmick, exactly. So, but it's pretty fun. It's pretty fun. Another thing I've been playing, and this is old. Well, I guess it would be considered old school now. I don't know how old it is, but it's getting up there. A long time ago, and I'm sure Jason remembers this. I made a promise to myself that I was going to play all the Grand Theft Auto games from 3 until current, and so I worked my way through 3, which wasn't too bad. I worked my way through 4, which ended up my save game messed up for some reason, and I couldn't play anymore, and I was right at the end. So for that, I ended up watching like the last 20 minutes of somebody else beating it on YouTube. I was like, okay, I didn't miss very much. I know what the ending is now.
You got the gist of it.
Yeah, exactly. So then I kind of got hung up on what I'm on currently, and that's Grand Theft Auto San Andreas. And this is one that I never really played that much of. I'm not really sure why. I think this is when I got out of the PC era and got into the console era and didn't ever pick this up for the console.
So good.
So I kind of,
So good.
yeah, it is. I'm kind of regretting that I missed it back then, because it's a little tough to play now, but you can definitely see how they started to expand in this one as far as giving you more choices than go to the mission marker or whatever, or just drive around like a madman. Now you can develop your character, lift weights, go out to eat, do whatever. So from that aspect, it's interesting to see how it's starting to evolve. But I think that's where the downfall kind of happened for me, is that there's a little bit more freedom to do things, and the world is bigger. And I'm really feeling that, like, oh man, I got to drive all the way over there. You know what I mean? Halfway across the map to go meet crazy lady who wants to be my girlfriend, but also wants to rob banks or whatever. So, you know, so it's fun, but I find that for me, I kind of have to do it in small doses, or I have to be in the mood to play the game, because I love the setting. Early 90s, gangster rap, that whole thing. I love all of that. It's just, yeah, like I said, I don't always want to sit down and travel through the map for 20 minutes and then finally get to do whatever I wanted to do. So, and then lastly, I had the honor of playing Syndrome. That game I played to review on for Play Some Video Games, and you know, I was looking forward to playing a sci-fi horror game. That's kind of my bag a little bit. I really like when those two genres combined. And here, unfortunately, I was a little disappointed with the game, but you can get my full review on the website, playsomevideogames.com. Boom.
That teaser.
That's a drop for you right there.
Oh my. So before we move on, though, Lucas,
yes,
we ask everybody on their first appearance on the show, what is your favorite video gaming moment of all time?
Of all time. Whoa.
All time.
That wasn't in the document. Now it's changed.
Past, present, and future.
Well, there's one that will always stick in my mind. So I think that really says something, the fact that I'll remember this forever, because it happened fairly young in my gaming career. The game is called Ultima Online. I'm not sure if you guys are familiar with this
I was hoping
MMORPG.
this would be one of your choices.
I am.
Okay. So Ultima Online was a game where it was one of the earlier MMORPGs, top-down perspective or isometric perspective. The whole game was basically 2D sprites and everything, but it looked pretty good for the time. And a lot of customization, a lot of things that you could do. The whole system was kind of set up so that there was a lot of freedom, much like the original games that it was based on, the single-player games from earlier in the series. So there, you've got this big world. There's no factions or anything. Everybody is just whoever you are, and you pick, if you want to be a blacksmith, you can start blacksmithing. If you want to be a mage, you can start casting spells, whatever it is. So I had a friend who played a lot more than I did, and he always had stuff to give me. Like, he'd be like, oh, do you want this it was like Vorpal Warhammer of Death or something crazy like that, because they had magic weapons. And I'm like, sure, I'll take this giant Warhammer, basically a sledgehammer, that deals like a quarter of your health in one hit. So in this game, you could basically attack anybody at any time, whenever you wanted. It was the Wild West of MMORPGs at the time, because nowadays I feel like it's usually faction versus faction, and you have to be in a certain PvP area to attack somebody. Here, anything goes. So one of my characters that I had made, I had decided that I was just going to be a murderer. I don't know why. It just happened. And there's kind of a rush because this was PvP for me at the time. You just go out and attack somebody. There was a certain area of the map where there's roads leading to different towns, and there's a couple of towns that are pretty popular, and one in particular was popular because you had player housing so close to the town that you could run down to the south and access your bank, and then run back up to your house. So it was really, the land there was really a lot of people wanted to get there. A lot of people moved through there. So I just kind of sat back, and they had a skill where you could hide, which made you invisible to passerbys. And you could only tell if somebody was nearby if you ran into them. And it would say, the console would say, you bumped into something invisible or whatever. So I would sit there and wait for somebody who looked like I could prey on them, as somebody who just like receives whatever toss me downs from people who play much more of the game than I do. And so I'm all decked out, and I'm just waiting for people to prey on. And I find this guy, and he's just kind of like wandering around, probably somebody who didn't even know how to play the game or just started or whatever. His gear was lacking. And so I run out of hiding, and I start smashing him in the face, and I'm chasing him down. And this is dial-up days, so I mean, it looks like a slideshow when you're running around. Especially if somebody's on a horse, it's over. If you're on foot on dial-up and somebody's on a horse, you're never gonna catch him. Thankfully, this guy was not. Chose my target well. So I'm chasing him down. I'm hitting him with the hammer, and he's about half dead. Well, he made a grievous error. Horrible mistake. If he ran inside a house, and I'm sure he was probably trying to use his hide skill, but he couldn't. It wasn't working for him. Well, when you run inside, like where there's a doorway, you can't get back out. You can't pass through people if they're aggressive towards you. So he ran inside, and I stood in the doorway, and he couldn't leave. So he's almost dead. And when you type messages, they don't go into a chat box. They go above your head. So you could pretty much always read what people were saying around you. And he types, "Why are you doing this to me?" And then I finally struck him down, and I felt bad. And I'm sure like this person probably never played the game again. But it was a great memory because shortly after that, they split the world so that you could you had the world where anybody could attack anybody at any time, and then you had the other side of the world where you couldn't do that anymore, basically. And so it really took the fun out of wandering around and feeling like you could be ambushed at any time. You had safety at that point, so you didn't really have to worry about that kind of stuff anymore. So that was one of my favorite gaming memories right there.
That's right. Lucas is the reason, boys and girls, you don't play MMOs anymore.
I will give that guy credit because he did not, he didn't say mean things about my mother or anything like that. He just said, "Why are you doing this to me?" And then he accepted his fate. Nowadays, you'd get like, I don't know, DDoS'd or something just for killing somebody or death threats. So he took it like a man.
Swatted.
That's true.
Oh, terrible things. I'm sorry I asked. But that's enough from us, everybody. So it's time to check in weekly, as we always do, and hear from you, the audience. So let's check out some messages.
Message for you, son.
Our first one comes in from Jake. He wants to know, now that the news is settled in, how are we all still feeling about the Nintendo Switch? So if you listened 2 episodes ago at this point, we Nintendo shacked it up, and Jason, Donnie, and myself, who are all on tonight, talked for 2 hours about a 3-minute trailer. So I guess now that reality sunk in, we're going to kind of check in and see where we are on that. Jason, let's go with you first.
Boy, nothing's changed, really. I mean, I don't know. It hasn't been that long. We've got some, more information's trickled out, things like that. But I mean, it was like, am I gonna change my mind? No. I mean, am I like hype overwhelming? My head's exploding? No. But I'm just waiting for more news, and I don't like to think of myself as a full-on fanboy Nintendo evangelist, and I'd be like, oh my god, it's the greatest thing ever. You don't like it? Get off the internet. But I mean, for everyone, there's going to be drawbacks and flaws or this and that. But for me, I'm excited about what it looks to do. I think it fits the way I play games very well. And I mean, honestly, I'm not about pure power and things like that. And some of the games I look forward to play the most right now are Nintendo franchises, and that's the only way I'm going to continue to play those is with the Switch. So that's the direction I'm going to head.
Yeah, I'm kind of along the same lines as you. I'm still excited. I'm still quote unquote all in on it, and it's going to be a must purchase for me. Depending on quantities, whether it's going to be a day one or a month or two down the line, that remains to be seen. I find it funny though how like the day they launched the announcement, it seems like everybody was pro Nintendo at that point. There were some people going out saying, "Oh, they did it again, something weird."
Yeah.
But I think the majority was on the side of Nintendo. Then you fast forward 3 days later, and everybody seems to be still kind of hating on it now. Even more so now, it seems like the tides have turned and just oh, Nintendo's doing it again. They can't compete with Sony and Xbox. And I don't know how else Nintendo can say they're not going to compete with Xbox or PlayStation. That's not what they do, especially anymore. And people are like, why can't they just make a normal console? Well, idiots. If they did, people still wouldn't buy it. If you came out and had another box that did the exact same things as the Xbox and PlayStation do, there's not enough incentive to buy it. You'll still be buying it for the Nintendo exclusives. So no matter pretty much what Nintendo makes, people are buying it primarily for those Nintendo exclusives. So it seems very weird that they'd want another box that does the same exact things as their PS4 and their Xbox One do. But that's just them. But I'm still excited. Same thing as you. Just waiting more news now, which we'll get. I'm sure those will be brought up in the news later, but we'll get it eventually, and we'll find out more then. But I'm still gunning for it. Donnie, I know you talked about it during your check-in, your status there. But overall, how do you feel about the Switch now that the dust has settled a little bit, if you will?
Well, I wrote an editorial for the site, covered some criticisms, some valid points, namely battery life. I know that's a big question. It's not a portable, like in the traditional sense. It's their little console on the go if you want to buy into their marketing. So, it's not going to have a 10-hour battery life like your iPad, but your iPad's not going to run the new Zelda game either. Battery life seems to be a stickler for most people. The reports that have surfaced is it looks like it's going to be about a 3-hour battery life, which I think is fine. I don't know if I'm ever 3 hours away from some sort of charging station, whether it be my car, my office, my house, some sort of wall plug somewhere. And the majority of that, the majority of the flights that I've been on, if you can give me 3 hours of solid gameplay, I think I can live. I still think the big reception of it is positive. I do see that people are, Nintendo didn't answer all the questions, and when you don't answer the questions, then it leaves people to look for speculations, to be skeptical, and that's fair. I think that's good consumer reporting. So in the absence of information, I still feel like most people are generally positive. I know a lot of the podcasts and things I've listened to in the last 2 weeks and a lot of YouTube videos I've watched, everybody seemed to be on board with this idea of a Nintendo tablet. We talked for 2 hours, as you already mentioned, about it, and one thing that we really didn't address in the profound, impactful manner to which I believe it warrants is that Nintendo will be developing full-time for a single platform for the first time in like 2 decades. And this is like the big system sell for me, is that we won't be buying 2 different versions of the game. There won't be a portable Smash Bros. And the console Smash Bros. And there won't be the portable Triforce Heroes and the Link Between Worlds and then the console Wind Waker HD. Like, they'll all be consolidated into one platform eventually. And the idea of Nintendo just cranking out games for one unit, I believe, gives them a leg up in terms of trying to get some third parties back, because there is going to be an audience there, because there's going to be more Nintendo content there. So I think that gives them a better chance to sell the product. In addition, they had their investors meeting, and they still harp in their mobile stuff. So they still have these mobile games and these mobile apps coming. So, a lot of people that I've heard talk about it, they look at the Switch as this is Nintendo's new dedicated gaming business, and then mobile is kind of like the new portable business. So it's not like they're getting out of, the hardware. Like, they've always had a console, and then they've always had a portable, and it's kind of in the same way they still do. If the Switch is going to be their console, and then your phone is going to be your portable, which I think is a really good analogy. I mean, I'm all in. Day one, pre-order as soon as I can. I've already set it up with my favorite GameStop manager. He knows to call me as soon as he can. Like, it's done. I'm going to get one. My only fear is that I didn't pull the trigger too early. I really hope those Zeldas come over, because that'll be the thing that, if they don't, I will eventually probably buy another Wii U. But I feel like they will. I feel like eventually they'll come over. I don't feel like, even if they allow you to transfer stuff, I still feel like I probably came out ahead. Just sheer value that I got out of it. I should be able to repurchase that stuff pretty easily. So I'm all on board with it. Super happy, super excited. Can't wait.
Donnie is hyped, though he doesn't sound like it. So, Lucas, I know you did talk about it briefly on the last episode of Fluxtaposed, but for those who, for some ungodly reason, don't actually listen to that, what are your thoughts and impressions so far on the Nintendo Switch?
Well, as somebody who bought into the Wii really late into its life cycle, and then pretty much dropped any idea of having a console for quite some time, long before the NX rumors were rumors. Now I guess I'm just cautiously optimistic about the whole thing. I'm very intrigued. When I watched the trailer, I actually probably made an audible like when I saw all the things that it could do and how it could be remixed basically into however you want to play it. The idea that really has me excited with this is that I could take it, and because I have almost everything, all gaming stuff, downstairs in the basement. The idea that I could just take it upstairs, sit on the couch, and hang out with my wife while she's watching some TV show, I feel like I could actually game while still, not just being relegated to downstairs for 4 or 6 hours or whatever. And all right, see you tomorrow. So, those things are what have me intrigued the most, especially depending on what games are announced for it and everything, how the performance will be for it. But much like Donnie said, I'm excited for the portability of it, because even if the battery life is like 2 hours, I'm not really ever far away from a wall outlet or anything. So, I would say cautiously optimistic.
I just want to touch on that. I mean, do you guys play games more than... Like, do you guys play video games longer than 3 hours at a time? I feel like I don't have it. Like, I had to have strep throat and be sent home from work to have that kind of time.
Yeah. when my wife is gone for a weekend, like once
that's
a
the only
year.
time.
Yep.
And even then, like, you're always at home when you play that
Yeah.
long, right? Like, you're never away and playing. Like, have you ever been away from your console and played for longer than 3 hours?
I have on some business trips, but it's not very common at all. No.
Yeah. I and to touch on what Lucas was going with, there was a really funny meme about the Wii U's off-screen play, is what they called it. And they were saying, well, what's the one thing that people like doing with the Wii U? Oh, they like playing games on the couch while the wife watches TV. And they're like, we'll build an entire console around that idea. Introducing the Switch.
That's why there was no kids in the marketing. Kids can't relate to that problem. But all right then, so that wraps up that question. So second question that came in from Kyle. He wants to know, what is the least scary game we've ever played? So to kind of sneak preview what the main topic is, we're talking about some of the spookiest, scariest / best horror games we've ever played. So Kyle flipped it on us. So we don't know 100% if he means the least scary game we've played that was supposed to be scary, or just literally the least scary game we've ever played. So I guess I'll go first. So the least scary game I've ever played, probably in the literal sense. Well, it's the least scary game I've played, but if somebody watched me play it, they might be a little bit frightened, and I'll go with Just Dance. So, yeah, two preteen daughters, so we've had quite a few iterations of the Just Dance series, and, Daddy's got to play with the girls sometimes.
But don't they have, like, Thriller? That's kind of scary.
Ooh. That's true. Maybe.
He got you.
And then if they meant the least scary game that was supposed to be scary but actually didn't quite pan off, I hope this isn't on anybody's list, but I'm gonna go with Condemned Criminal Origins.
Really?
So yeah, it was one that I felt like was supposed to be scary, and it just kind of came off as trippy more than anything. So it didn't really frighten me at all, but I think it was supposed to. It just didn't have that effect, at least not on me. But I know that's quite often on like some lists as in the best horror in the genre. But for me, it just didn't do it. Jason, how about you?
To go with the literal answer, I can't really. I haven't played a whole plethora of scary games, so I'm trying to think of one that's supposed to be scary and it wasn't. So I don't think I'm going to have an answer for that, but
all of them.
Probably the least scary game ever was one my brothers and I would play that they had on Sega Genesis, which was Richard Scarry's Busy Town. I mean, his name has scary in it, right?
That's true. Fair enough. All right, then let's throw it to Lucas. How about you, sir?
Well, if we're going with the literal translation, then I would say if it was supposed to be scary and it wasn't really, I'm going to go with Dead Island. I don't know how scary it's supposed to be, but it has zombies in it. It ended up just being more of an action game for me, especially with the melee and everything. Not really scary, just tense, I guess. Just the idea that you could be swarmed at any time, but nothing. I don't remember any jump scares or anything, and after a while it just kind of feels like you're running from place to place to do whatever the next mission is and upgrading your weapons and your character and everything. So I don't know, I think for that the horror is a little takes a back seat to the gameplay. And then if it's the least scariest game ever, one that I checked out recently is called Slime Rancher, and it's basically about going around collecting little Jigglypuffs or slimy, cute little slimies, and I don't even know what the goal is really, but you take them back to your farm and you got them there and you look at them and they kind of do little dances like a plate of Jello. So very cuddly, very cute, very huggable. Not scary.
You like to hug plates of Jello?
I do. As long as it's like a good red Jello, no green, no orange. Give me a good red Jello. I'll hug you.
Fair enough. Donnie, how about you?
The least scariest game that was supposed to be scary was Resident Evil 5. That game's not scary at all. You just shoot people.
No.
That's it. It's just like an arcade shooter. You just walk around and just keep shooting people. It's fun to play, but it's just not scary. The least scariest game ever is probably Peggle. I mean, just with all the rainbow colors and everything, like there's just nothing scary about that game. So those would be my two options. If it was supposed to be scary, there's nothing scary about Resident Evil 5, and if it's not, Peggle.
There you go. All right, so we'll move on to the next one. So dspin67 on Twitter. This was initially supposed to be a question I think submitted for the last one, which was the board game, but we didn't get it in time prior to recording, so we'll answer it now. So on our favorite property, Monopoly, do we add houses or hotels? That's the first half. And the second half, in the game of life, do you take the college route or straight to work option? So I'll go first in this one. So for me, I always build the houses instead. I think the hotels are kind of a waste of money, because if you build enough houses on a property, you'll have the person beat before you get to the point where you can build the hotel anyway. So unnecessary in my mind. And in the game of life, I personally always go with the college route, simply because I like to choose my occupation from the three choices and then just pay off the college debt, as opposed to going the regular way and being stuck with whatever you draw. Then you end up something terrible like sales assistant or accountant and make no money. So nobody wants that. Lucas, let's go with you first.
Oh, okay. Well, let's see. We had to list a favorite property.
I'm not sure if he's asking the favorite property or just means on our favorite property at a house or a hotel.
Well, I have one, so I'm going to answer it. I'll tell you, New York Avenue, and the reason why is because it's one space before the free parking, and we play where you get all the money in the middle. You get the pot if you land on free parking. Mm-hmm. So I like to see everybody who's like counting it down when they're getting to that, and they're like, "Oh, I'm going to get free parking," and then it's like, "No." You land on New York Avenue, and guess who owns it? I do. But usually I'm not doing well enough to really afford hotels, so I add like houses piecemeal. Like, oh, I think I can afford one if I mortgage all these other properties. So I usually just add houses, and then like 3 turns later, I'm like, hey, I could win this thing, and the game's done. So and I lose. And then the game of life, quite simple. I never really played the game of life. That's one of the games that I was always like, oh, that and Clue. I'm always like, oh, I want to play that. And everyone's like, yeah, we played that like a million times. I don't want to play it. So I never really got to play the game of life. But I would imagine I would take the college route because education is very important.
There you go, kids. Stay in school. Important message from Lucas.
That's
right. Donnie, how about you?
I always went with houses first out of the gate because they're cheaper, and you always want to just strike first. Strike first, strike often. Favorite property was always Kentucky Avenue. Excuse me. Because it's the one after free parking. So it's always that one where people are like, oh, am I going to land No, you're not. You're going to pay me money. Sorry. Always went straight to work. Again, board games, strike fast. So get out quickly, strike fast.
In this economy?
Flipping burgers, sir. Extra fries. Jason, how about you?
You gotta like Body Odor Railroad. Actually, I would always end up. What is the light blue color? Like Atlantic Ave. Wasn't it like?
Connecticut was one of them.
Yeah,
and
Vermont.
The yellow. Yeah, I think you're right.
I would always end up. I would always get those 3 properties. I don't know how. So not like they're my favorite, but I would just always end up with them. That or the like St. James Place, the dirt cheap. That was like $5. That's all you get off it. That's with like two hotels. You get like $5. Yeah, I wouldn't ever build hotels very often because you don't hardly ever get to that point, and it would always just be houses. Gosh, I haven't played Monopoly in forever. That's probably a good reason. And, honestly, I'm very familiar with the game of life, but I've never actually played.
Wow.
I'm missing out.
That's incredible. I don't think I'd ever meet 2 people that didn't play.
We have it.
That's your next Battle of the Beer video. You have to play the game of life.
Actually, we only play designer board games, even from a young age. So, we've played Catan for like 15 years.
We had terrible childhoods, apparently.
I guess so, man. Oh, you played Monopoly, but not Life. I mean, Life is so much better.
I grew up an only child and had no one to play games with, so I just played Nintendo in my room by myself.
Oh, me too.
Well, yeah, that's true. I did too. But then that's what I had kids for, so I could play those board games. But I don't know. We'll see soon enough. So then the last question we have is our weekly wife question of the week. Ooh. So newcomer Josh, you might have heard his voice on last episode talking about board games. His wife asks us our best or favorite gaming memory with our significant other. For me, I'll say probably whenever we play Pikmin. My wife absolutely loves that series, so we'll do a lot of the co-op stuff, and we put, tons and tons of hours into Pikmin 3 on the Wii U, doing all the different battle modes and co-op levels, and then the versus levels. So, we've sunk, it's well over 100 hours, I think, into that game playing together. So it's always fun to see those games come out, and it's something we can both enjoy and play through. And quite frankly, she's better than I am at Pikmin, so she likes that too, because quite often I'll end up beating her and stuff, and this is something that she can beat me in. If not, we're very close to being even, but then cooperatively we work together very well. So that's my pick. Let's go with Donnie then.
My favorite memory playing video games with my wife has occurred in the last 2 years. It's when we played Her Story. We were doing this kind of weekly game night where she and I both sat down and played a video game together, and I had showed her Story when it was kind of all the rage, and I had my Steam box, and we came home. I went and got steaks and salad, and they rented the kids a movie, so the kids had like popcorn and stuff, and we just came downstairs and turned on Her Story, and she got way into it and was like taking notes and stuff as we rifled through everything. We both really didn't like the game. Like, even when we got to the end, we were like, well, that was kind of dumb. But we had a lot of fun getting there, and we ate steak and salad, and we had cheesecake, and it was just a good date night.
So you got steak, salad, and cheesecake, and you shoved the kids in their room with Redbox and some popcorn.
Yeah,
Amen.
Yeah.
Parenting win right there, sir. Well played. Mr. Lacey, how about you?
Boy. Let's see. My wife isn't really a gamer. She did play, when we got the Wii U, she did play Nintendo Land a little bit. Because when we were like, oh, how's this gamepad work? And things like that. So we messed around with it a little bit. And that's really the extent of it. I do remember when we first started dating, she made a comment to me because she had a DS at one point. But unfortunately, when she received, like, it must have been like one of the Super Mario games on there. Mm-hmm. She told me she had played it so much that day that she made herself sick, and then she never went back to it after that. And shortly after we got together, she actually sold it for some cash. So I guess that's it.
Oh, there you go. So your favorite gaming memory will be to come then. That's how you got to look at it.
Yeah, because I'm sure she's going to be like, oh yeah, I definitely want to play the Switch with you.
Absolutely. Why wouldn't she?
On the rooftop, remember?
Yeah.
Yes.
On Lucas's rooftop.
Oh no, we have very.
Wait, I thought it was your secret apartment. You can't tell your wife about that one, Jason.
Yeah.
That's true.
Ooh, good thing she doesn't listen. Anyway, Lucas, sir, how about you?
Well, my wife's not too much of a gamer either, but she will play some casual games now and then. And one that I got her, I don't know if she saw me playing it or I'm not sure how it came about, but maybe I just said, here, try this game. Maybe you'll like it. It's funny that Donnie mentioned it earlier, Peggle. We used to get really competitive about Peggle. Yeah.
Just played Peggle, too.
So she would even be like, I would just not even be planning on playing a game or something, and she'll be like, you want to play some Peggle? And I'm like, sure, why not?
Hell yeah.
Let's do it. So she was good at it too, as much as you can be good at Peggle, right. But she always beat me. So
you're all about that ode to joy.
That's true. I got to get all those explosions and everything or whatever. The thing that doesn't the thing come. It's been so long. The thing pops up at the bottom, and you got to try to get into the middle to get the highest end score or whatever when you hit the last peg. I don't remember.
Yeah. There's like one of the little containers at the bottom has the highest possible, and it does the cool slow motion. Yes.
Very dramatic.
Yeah.
As only a puzzle game could be.
That's true.
It's all about the drama.
What's an action puzzle game? That's so weird.
Uncharted 5, that's what it's going to be about.
Yes.
It's a word puzzle game with some treasure hunting. Mm-hmm. All right, then. So that wraps up the messages for this week. Thank you, everybody, for sending those in. And remember, you can always send us in questions. Tweet at us on Twitter at PSVG, or just send us a quick email, podcast at playsomevideogames.com. So now to move on to the main event for this evening, gentlemen. We're here to discuss the best horror / spooky / scary games because it's Halloween time.
Scary.
This is what you do. This is what you do. You eat candy corn so your stomach hurts, you watch bad movies, and you play some creepy video games. So, we're going to kind of tick off our top 2. I think we're going to do top 2 games each, and then honorable mention later on, but we'll go round table, and we will kick things off with Jason.
Ooh, all right.
Ooh.
I had to think about this for a while, because it's never been a genre that I ever got hugely into, but I mean, I've played my fair share, and probably like one of... just because it fits the mold the most, but it I don't think it's by any means the scariest, but it's the one, and if I look at like total playtime, it's the one I definitely played the most of, which would be Resident Evil 2.
Mm-hmm.
Just because I love that game. At that, I was like middle school at the time, on the old PlayStation, and it was just... It was actually the first one I played. I never played Resident Evil, but I was very familiar with the franchise, and I just loved the experience of going through Raccoon City and with zombies everywhere. And I'm gonna lump it in together too, because my Resident Evil franchise experience is kind of the same. And I think the game that would surpass that for me was the Resident Evil remake on GameCube.
Yeah, that was so good.
Took like everything that was good about the series, and then added like the you had those pre-rendered backgrounds and everything, but the lighting effects on the GameCube, everything just looked awesome. And then they took that game and we got Scarlet Heads, which were freaky, and then the whole edition of Lisa Trevor. I mean, she was just this hulking, scary, screaming thing, and good times with those 2 games.
I agree. Those are good ones. So I guess I'll go next, and I'll go with a more traditional one. And it's not because this game was scary or... Well, I mean, there were some moments, but overall I didn't think it was very scary. But it was, in my mind, the epitome of a horror movie in gaming format. And that is nothing other than Until Dawn, which I reviewed for the site, and I enjoyed it a lot. I believe Donnie is going to be playing that pretty soon, if I recall. I think he said him and his wife are going to kind of sit down and go through that as well.
We have a date planned for this weekend. I got it from Best Buy for $9.
Wow.
That's a good deal.
Like 2 or 3 months ago. Haven't even opened it. It's just been sitting there this whole time. And as we kind of got closer and closer to Halloween, that's exactly what I've been doing. I've like been pushing it off. I'm like, all right, I'm gonna play it. So Kevin, can my wife do the controller part? Like, can she?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right.
There's a couple little quick time event moments, but there's no dying per se, because if something goes wrong, it just changes the event of the story. So for those of you not familiar, it's basically a choose your own adventure type game where similar like to what Telltale does, where you can choose to do one thing or the other, and that will affect what happens throughout the rest of the story. But it's a bunch of kids in the woods, and your typical there's a killer or a monster or whatever out there, and you kind of go through. But the voice acting is phenomenal. You have Hayden Panettiere from Heroes and I guess Nashville, and I can't think of his real name, but Ward from Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is a main character, and the voice acting and the graphics are just top notch. It's very, very fun, but it is just literally a cheesy horror movie, but in a good way. It's very self-aware. It knows it. It's very tongue-in-cheek, but it was a lot of fun while still being creepy, and does have its scary moments. For me, it just kind of reminded me of what horror movies and Halloween is all about, where it's meant to be kind of scary, but ultimately you can sit back and kind of laugh at it at the same time. But that was one of my faves. So let's go to Lucas next.
I'll start with my kind of second pick, because my first pick builds upon this idea a little bit. So this was Outlast for the PC. I think it released in 2015. You kind of basically are going. You get a tip that this asylum, or some big spooky building anyway, there's something weird going on over there, and you should check it out. And as a journalist, of course, you got your camera with you, because who doesn't film everything they do all the time, right? But they basically play up this idea that you have night vision on your camera, and this game is fairly guilty of jump scares, but they do it in a way that I can at least appreciate, as opposed to just I don't know, they don't overuse it, I didn't feel like, anyway. And there are certain ones in there that if you haven't played it, I don't want to spoil it for you, but there are some that happen at times where you're just not even expecting it. And so for that reason, just playing off from that idea, I really enjoy it. But I don't know, there's just a lot happening that they don't really explain, and I think the unknown is what's really scary. You know, you're walking around in this dark, practically, you know, it's an asylum or whatever, but it's basically, you know, a bunch of rooms. It might as well be a mansion or any other thing. So you're just walking around, and there's jail cells, and just the atmosphere is so creepy, and anything could happen. So that's one of those games where I could only play it for so long before I felt like I needed to quit so that I could take a breather. So
my wife liked to watch you stream that, because
I did stream some of it.
Oh, I'll have to go back and watch that.
I screamed.
You actually stole that, so that was my second pick.
Get away.
But no, it's fine, because it's for the same reasons. It was, the jump scares were done in a way that wasn't cheesy. It was very deliberate, and the game gave you a great sense of tension when you played for long periods of time. It just made you nervous playing it. Mm-hmm. And then something you didn't touch on that I thought was great too, and maybe it's because I happen to play with headphones, was the audio in it.
Yes.
They do a lot with sound to throw you off, you know, things on my left or things on my right when you're, you know, having to hide from stuff and things like that. But I was tempted to do that as my first pick, but that is my second pick, so I will not have another pick later on until the honorable mention. But yeah, same reasons. I don't know if it was available on PC, but did you play the demo for Outlast 2?
No, but I have seen I've watched a YouTuber play it, and that looks very promising, I think, anyway.
It is. I played through it right before recording the last episode, and it's very cool. It takes, you know, the same things that made the first one what you liked out of it, but they definitely enhanced it a bit, and the setting, I think, is a little bit more original, with at least from what you saw in the demos, like a lot of farm fields, like there's a lot of big whole portion of it where you're hiding in a cornfield, and everybody's still wandering around. You can use your night vision, but it only works so well because you're in the middle of a cornfield, but then the guys are walking around with flashlights looking for you, and just same thing, just a lot of tension and uneasiness, and they had a couple good jump scares thrown in there too that really caught me off guard. So yeah, it looks good. Excited for that one too. So Donnie, sir, it's your turn.
Super Mario Bros. 2.
It was all a bad dream.
No, I'm going to go with probably my favorite experience on the current generation of console gaming, and that is Playable Teaser, better known as PT. Mm-hmm. The little demo from Hideo Kojima and Guillermo del Toro. I remember when it was announced, I went and downloaded it. I was playing it before the E3 conference was over, and I love that game. It reminded me so much of why I love horror movies and horror video games. And before we started podcasting, you know, I mentioned to you guys that this genre doesn't really have a whole lot going for it with video games. I'm excited with the Friday the 13th franchise that's was delayed but still coming. I really hope it's good. I'm really excited about Resident Evil, and I really hope that it's good. But you look through like it's not like there's a lack of trying. There is horror games that come out in video games every year for decades, but there's not like the ones that like really jump out and grab me, at least. Not like movies do, and this one did. And it's just a demo, and it's completely free, and you just keep. It played with tension and cinematics, and you just keep, it would lull you into thinking that you were safe just until you weren't. It got to the point where I remember I was playing with my wife, and she was like, I don't want to play this anymore. Like, she literally is like, I don't even want to play it anymore. I'm like, no, come on, we got to see what's it. She's like, I don't want to see it, I don't care, I'm done. And that's when you're really getting somewhere. I hope it comes to light some. It probably it won't. It never will. For whatever it was supposed to be with Silent Hills and everything, it was lost. But the little demo that few of us still have out there is great. And like I said, is probably my favorite gaming moment in this generation. And I don't say that lightly. It probably is. Like, I don't think I've ever had more fun than when I played PT the first time. It was a blast. It was truly something refreshing, something new, something that I don't feel like had been done yet to that point. And it gives me a lot of hope for VR. In our VR conversation, I really think VR with jump scares and horror themes and really putting you in a place where you feel uneasy, I think that's because it's slow and prodding. I feel like there's a really good avenue there, and I really hope, I can't wait to see how people explore it.
Yeah.
Nah, it's true. That's one of the biggest regrets I have too. Is I had the demo and I deleted it, thinking, "Oh, it's no big deal. I'll just download it again whenever I want to play it." And then they pulled it.
Did you ever play it?
I did.
Okay.
But I would have loved to sit back and play it again, like this year.
Yeah.
And relive it more. Like, I think I played through it once and I was like, okay, and then I deleted it, and then all the videos came out with like, oh no, these are all these different things that could happen.
Yeah, there's
as you play through, more and more, and I missed out on a lot of that stuff.
Talk about like the world's best demo. There's so many Easter
Yeah.
eggs and hidden things. Like, yeah, it's so good.
Oh yeah, for sure. So all right then, so we are back to Jason, sir.
Oddly enough, this one I'm pretty sure I never played the full game. What I played was a tech demo showing off the engine and everything, and it was way back in 2007, I think. And that game is Penumbra.
Oh yeah,
It's and I almost want to think that you could play the first game. They just released that free, but it was like a trilogy. But now I guess it's known as it's like a survival horror episodic game. But at this one, it's first person, and it really relied. It had this custom physics engine, and the game really relied on those. Like you had to like physically open the doors with the mouse, and open drawers and things like that. And you could pick up objects and move them around. And there were no weapons really in the game. You didn't have a gun or anything like that. I guess you eventually get like a hammer or a pickaxe that you can use as like an improvised melee weapon. But otherwise, you had just like random things in the environment that you could try to improvise. And there were like these crazy monster things that would attack you. And since you have no really way to defend yourself, that you just run. Or I would try to barricade doors and things like that. For some reason though, I remember having like a stick of dynamite or a flare. So I remember like putting a box in front of the door while this flying nasty thing's trying to get in, and then throwing the dynamite at the door. It was I hadn't played anything like that at the time, and it had creepy sound effects. You had a flashlight, so there was good lighting effects. And if I remember looking it up, like the whole storyline was like you get like this. It's set in 2001, and you play this character Philip, a physicist, and your mom recently died, and you get this letter from your supposedly dead father. So you follow a series of clues, and you lead you to this remote location in northern Greenland, and it's like this kind of like it's like an abandoned mine that you end up going into that collapses shortly after, and you got to kind of find your way around. But I just remember it being just a freaky experience that the game really focuses on, not just horror but like psychological horror at the same time too. So I think when you're forced, when you're in typical games, you always have weapons to defend yourself. So when you're left with nothing, that really amps up the stakes a little more than a typical game does.
Yeah, for sure. All right, so back to me. Since Lucas literally drank my milkshake and stole my answer,
I'll do that.
I'm gonna bump up my honorable mention then, and going again with something, as Jason kind of just stated, something that had a little bit of a different experience, and that is GameCube title Eternal Darkness: Sanity's Requiem.
Yes.
So there was a lot of creepy things going on in this game, and if you don't know it, aren't familiar with it, there's a ton of stuff up on YouTube. It's never been remastered or re-released or anything like that to my knowledge, and I would love to play it again, but don't really have it. It did a lot of unique things. It was basically your main character is going through different points in history in different areas, but they would slowly be losing their sanity as opposed to their health. And as your character lost sanity, the game would kind of do stuff to mess with you. There'd be a fly on the screen, and it would look like there was a fly literally on your screen. So it was many times you go and whack the TV and realize that there was no fly. It was actually inside the game. It looked realistic. They would do things like the game would freeze up on you, and like even do like the audio freezing. So literally, like you thought the game broke and you were gonna get up to go and reset it, and then all of a sudden it just starts playing again. You would get flash like almost like a jump scare type thing. You get a jump scare scene of like your character dead in like a very morbid setting, things like that, and it just kind of messed with you. It wasn't scary too much. It was more just kind of like it was mentally messing with you quite a lot. Your save file's corrupted and all these different things. So it was kind of just unique twist, and I haven't really seen anything else like that to date. I don't think that I can recall. There might be some stuff on PC, but unfortunately I don't get to do much PC gaming. But yeah, it was just a unique experience for me, and nothing else like it at that time. So that was my honorable mention, but now it's not. It's my second pick, and I'll pick a different honorable mention. So we are back to you, Lucas.
Okay, well, like I said, my second pick kind of built upon my first, and it's funny, Donnie once again kind of we must have like a mental link or something. First it was Peggle, and this time it's VR. This is a VR title on the Oculus Rift. I'm not sure if it's available for the Vive, but it's called Dread Halls.
Yeah.
I was able to... Oh, go ahead.
I know this one, right?
Yes, because I streamed a little bit of it with much pain because it would crap out after like 30 minutes or something like that. But this is a game where the original demo for the pre-release consumer version of the Oculus Rift, you would just basically go through this one level of a maze, but they built upon it for the actual release of the game. And now there's kind of a story to this maze that you find yourself in, very dungeon-like, very most of the time claustrophobic. Every once in a while, you'll kind of go through a door and then find this much larger open area. But for the most part, it's all these closed-in hallways. And because you're doing it in VR and you have head tracking, and if you want, you can stand up or you can sit down. It's your brain kind of forgets that you're not really in danger. The graphics are okay, but it's not like it's anything crazy good looking, so it's kind of funny that it feels like you're somewhere else. But they did some very interesting things, some expected, some unexpected, but with the monsters. So as you're going through this maze, of course you have very limited sight because of darkness, but also because you're ending up at a lot of corners and crossroads where you kind of have to decide, all right, which way am I going to go? A lot of doors to open. So you're always wondering what's coming next. And especially because you can lean around the corners. That's something that comes, I think, very naturally. So it even more cements you into this world. And so as you go around, you never really know what's going to happen. And it kind of starts off light, but as you continue through this maze, you start running into different creatures, and one that really got to me, and I even knew that it was coming because I had seen a demo for this game long before it was released, long before I got an Oculus Rift even. There are these statues of gargoyles, and when you enter a room and you see one, after you know what they do, you're just like, oh no, really? Like, is it worth it to go through this room? Because they don't move. They're just stationary. But the second you take your eyes away and then look back, they've gotten closer to you. And because you're in VR, like normally that wouldn't really be that scary, but because you're in VR, if you look, depending on how far they've traveled, it could be right behind you, and it feels like it's right behind you. So there's monsters like that, and you're just like, you don't really know the first time what you can and can't do. Like, do I just turn and run? Do I back out watching this thing the whole time? What do I do? How am I going to interact with this door and open it behind me, knowing that thing is, could spring to life or whatever? So there'll be other times where you're wandering down a hall and you'll see something just gigantic go past you. And then of course you have your typical, you might be messing around with something and you look up and there's just like this very like ring-like looking character, woman in a white dress and long black hair, just all of a sudden right next to you, and you're running away for your life like crazy, trying to get away from these things. So just same idea as Outlast, that it's first person, it's all the it's spooky scary, but because you have that sense of actually being there, it tricks your brain into thinking you're in actual danger. And there are times where I've jumped to the point where I actually felt like I was in danger. Like that feeling, I've never... It's one thing to watch a movie and have a jump scare, but this is like, I don't know, it just tricks you into thinking that you need to run for your life. And I haven't had quite an experience outside of VR or in VR since this game. So it's another one that I'm just like, I can only play so much of this before it just gets to me, and I have to step away for a few. So very recommended. And I don't think it's even that expensive. It's like $10 or something like that. It's a really great VR experience.
That's the kind of stuff that's going to make me get a VR unit eventually.
Yeah.
Like when there's a good lineup of stuff like that, that's when I'm going to pull the trigger.
Yeah, there needs to be more fleshed out ideas. Most everything is just a tech demo, it seems
Lucas,
like.
what's the movement like in that? Do you have like free movement like all the time with the mouse and keyboard, or?
Yeah,
or
you can
controller?
You can use mouse and keyboard or controller. I like to use the controller because I actually stand in the game, because you can not only can you move your head, but you can even go so far as to crouch down or like look over a table or something like that. So I like that range of movement, although it can be a little bit nauseating. Like you start to feel like, where are my feet in relation to the ground? What's going on?
I could play, what did I try to play there? The Skyrim, wasn't it?
Yeah, Skyrim was much worse.
I know, because it's not officially supported, but man, that I felt so sick after that.
Yeah. If
I'm actually watching a YouTube video right now of somebody playing this game, and it does look like this would mess with your head big time.
It does. It's total mind screw. So.
Yeah, I'm with Donnie. This stuff like this would be like why I'd want VR, but I don't think I'd play it for hours and hours on end. Much like you said, you can only do so much before it kind of gets to you. But it's definitely interesting.
It's a great experience to have.
I'll party at Lucas's house then. That's it.
Bring it on. Bring the beer.
There you go. All right, Donnie, we are back to you, sir.
Waiting for somebody to build a Tilt-A-Whirl demo in VR.
Oh, jeez.
Some people just want to watch the world burn.
Or tilt, in this case.
My next one is the one that started it all for me. For those that have listened since the beginning, you've heard it before, and that's Clock Tower. For the PlayStation, Clock Tower 2, as it's better known as, because Clock Tower was actually a SNES game. Clock Tower, my first, probably the only one that I could remember, adventure game, point-and-click adventure game, and it really, really hit me hard. And my memory is, I had the whole family around me. We were all trying to solve the puzzles together. The puzzles were, at the time, what I thought was really hard, but they're really they're not. But, when I was in middle school, I think I beat this game when I was in like 6th grade. 6th grade, I thought they were really hard. And they're very obtuse. You need to, the one that always jumps out at mind is you find yourself in this cabin, and there's like a dog that's like guarding the door, and if you try to leave, like the dog will just kill you. And like you had to, unlock several doors to get into the laundry room to find like the soap box or like laundry powder to spray in the dog's face so he couldn't see, so you could run by him. But it's this murder mystery tale of like a reporter and some college students and a boyfriend, and how people are dying, all at the hands of this very devious, sinister villain named Scissorman, which doesn't sound terrible. It is like this hunchback of Notre Dame looking character who walks around with these gigantic scissor shears. And as he walks, so do his scissors make the noise. So he walks and goes shing, shing, shing. And throughout this game, he torments you. And I remember the sense, for lack of a better word, the sense of adventure. Because when you hurt him, it wasn't like when I think back to the era of video games, I never really felt like I had like freedom. Like I always think like Tomb Raider, like in her mansion, like how you felt like you just run around and do whatever. Like I kind of felt that way in Clock Tower, even though there were these small environments. Like you could hide under the bed, or you could get into the locker, or you could get into the closet, or you could go into the bathroom. Like you literally could choose whatever you wanted to do, but don't choose wrong, or he'll come and kill you. And it was just hours and hours of trial and error until we eventually figured it out. And even though that game was so long ago, I still remember the story quite well. I would never tell anybody to go back and play it because the PlayStation 1 era is really hard to go through, but I would absolutely tell everybody to just YouTube it. Like, if you at any point you think you're interested, just go. I'm sure somebody has a Let's Play of it somewhere. Just go give it a YouTube and just kind of check it out. I mean, it's. I always kind of think about it now, like today when I play a Telltale game. I think about that game. Back then, I'm like, man, how good would this game be right now if like somebody like Telltale took that same story and just kind of gave it a remake or brought it up to speed? Because I just really enjoyed it. I thought it was great, and the little crazy kid that loved watching Nightmare on Elm Street and Friday the 13th, late at night with the lights off. Like, I just dug that game so hard, and that's what got me into Silent Hills and Resident Evil, and it made me like just kind of play all that stuff. So that's the one that started all for me, and it's one of my favorites.
Do you remember in that game where one of the options was to hold up a blanket and hide behind it?
Yes, I do. Absolutely, I do. And you remember, like, if you were a dude, you could fight him, but if you were a girl, you couldn't. Like, you just you could lay down, you could like maybe kick him in the groin or something.
Yeah, I remember the kick in the groin.
It was great. That was really fun. The mansion was the best. When you get trapped in the kitchen and like the lights are off and he came coming through. It's a real creepy character, like a real creepy animation. It's just got this old dude, like, kind of like pimp walk. Like he like drags a foot.
Yeah, he does.
Like this giant scissors. I mean, it was when I was 12, it scared me. When I watched YouTube videos, I'm like, this is dumb. But back then, it was great, and just the puzzling was really good. That's the thing that I remember about it. Was I remember when I figured out the puzzles, and it was like that first like, aha, now I know what I have to do moment. Like, I never really had a moment like that until that game. So
to summarize up Donnie's whole speech just then is, you never forget your first kick in the groin.
Nope.
That's true, actually. Yeah, you never do.
Receiving or giving.
No.
Don't fight Lucas. Don't fight Lucas, man.
I know, right?
I'll get you.
He'll hide in the woods and just take you and steal all your newbie gear, or he'll just run up and kick you in the groin.
Hit you with a warhammer.
Trap you in a house. Yeah.
Now, why are you doing this to me? Oh, all right. So time for honorable mention. So one last one from each of you. Then we'll start with Jason.
Gosh, the only thing close that I can think of would probably be. Oh, you know what? I was gonna say Doom, but it came out in like the 2000s. But I'm the Doom 3. But I'm gonna go with Left 4 Dead.
Yeah.
Not so
a fun
much
one.
Too spooky, like scary so much, but it had some good atmosphere. When you're moving around, you could hear the zombies, and you didn't know where they are. You could hear like the witch crying, or if a smoker like grabbed you out of nowhere, it could freak you out a little bit. And I just loved the over the top like B movie cheesiness that they had for each scenario. Like the little you had the movie poster with the taglines of everything, and then you could have like. It was really cool as you go through, like, to see like the scroll like things that were scrawled on the walls by survivors and stuff, and just added like a little atmosphere to it, which just was simply a little multiplayer only game in a way. And I had a fleshed out kind of cool experience, or like one of the first time one of those tanks shows up. That's kind of like a holy crap moment, and it was always fun just trying to survive with everyone, and had a lot of good fun on it. Surprisingly, I had that on the old Xbox and not on PC, so it's good times though.
No, it was a great game. It's one of the few Xbox games I actually did enjoy when I had an Xbox back in the day. For me, I'm gonna go much like Donnie. Then my honorable mention will be what got me into quote unquote the first horror game. But unfortunately, I'm much older than Donnie, so the only other person here that might remember this game is possibly Jason, maybe Lucas. But
much older.
That's fine.
It's like
I'll take it.
Like my grandpa over here.
Oh, not that much older. But I'm going with Friday the 13th on the NES.
Yeah.
Now, the reason I would classify this still as a horror game was because, I had to be maybe 7 or 8, I think, playing this then at this point. I remember, I don't know why my parents let me get it, but all I remember is I had something done. I had like a tooth pulled or something like that. I had spacers put in or something like that, and I had like some dental work done. And it was painful. So like I had the rest of the day out of school and this and that. So my mom's like, "Oh, we'll go get you, we'll get you a Nintendo game on the way home. So you have something to do." Okay, no problem. And I picked that out, and I don't know why she let me get it, but whatever. The game isn't scary per se, but when Jason pops up, he would constantly pop up out of nowhere. And it would always make like a loud noise every time he'd show up. And so it was like the first probably jump scares in gaming history, actually. When he gets you on these side-scrolling missions, like when you're walking around in the woods, it wasn't that bad. He'd just kind of show up on the side of the screen. He'd like chuck machetes at you, and then like run away. And like your camp counselor you were always had like just rocks to throw at him, so it was very ineffective. But when he'd get you in the cabin, that's where it would scare the bejesus out of me as a kid. Because you walk around the cabins, it's like first-person point of view, and you're like looking for items, whether it be a lighter or something like that, and you'll walk the whole thing and he's not there, but then you go to do something, you go to back up one screen, all of a sudden he's there, and it just would show up right in your face and make a loud noise would pop up, and if that happened, you were pretty much dead if you couldn't get out the door. Like, there was no way you were fighting him toe-to-toe. So that game, I just remember being incredibly hard, and Jason would just pop out of nowhere and just scare the bejesus out of you. So
wasn't his
I'm putting
mother's
that one on my
floating
list.
head in there too?
Yep. Yeah, if you were good enough to get through the woods and find the hidden cabin that was in the woods, was Jason's mother's house. Her head would attack you, or her flying head would attack you, and the only way to get by it is if you were wearing, I think Jason's mother's sweater was the only way to stop the head from attacking you.
Really hoping
yeah.
the new Friday the 13th game is better than the old one.
No, I hope it's just like that, actually, just updated graphics. You just throw rocks at Jason, and
has anybody thrown rocks at
sweaters.
Jason in the movie? I kind of want to feel like see somebody just throw rocks at him.
I mean, you could get other weapons. Like, you were able to get knives and axe, and I think machete was like the best weapon naturally, because that's what Jason uses. But if you ran out of those, like, those were limited items. So if you had like machetes, you had like 5, and once you threw those 5, you had nothing left. So your default weapon was always just rocks that you would throw. So
paper rocks.
When you were out of ammo, that's what you did. You threw a rock because it was just there.
All right.
But see, Donnie, that's what I had to deal with when I was a kid.
I feel for you, man. Like I've tried to play some NES games, and that stuff sucked.
Well, yeah, it's tough. It's pure nostalgia in most NES games.
Go
Like,
buy
none
the
of them are
NES
really
Classic
good.
Mini, folks. You're in for a world of fun gaming.
I wish Friday the 13th was on that, but alas, it is not. All right, so we are back to Lucas. What is your honorable mention there, sir?
Well, honorable mention, Dead Space, and if I had to go with one, definitely number 2.
Yep, I agree.
I remember playing, I think one day I just sat down, this thing had enraptured me. I had already played the first one, so I knew what to expect, but I don't know, everything was just better into the atmosphere, the fact that you were on more of like a space station instead of a ship. More enemies, just everything was better. It wasn't necessarily scary. I think it was more creepy than anything. The atmosphere is pretty horrific, the things that have happened to people, and especially I think this is where you first see what happened to the poor babies that were on the spaceship and what they got to be turned into. But just the idea, like, I can't remember if it's the first one or the second one, but the idea that somebody would let this happen to them. I know there was one guy who was just like, "Oh, there are new masters. I'm willing, and take me." And then he allows himself to become one of these things. It's just like their whole universe for that game was really spot on. Taking kind of a classic sci-fi horror thing and turning it into, modernizing it and just turning it up to 11 for lack of a better word. So, Dead Space 2 for the Xbox 360.
I think that had the best ending, too, out of the 3 as well. The ending for 2, I think, was the best one.
Oh, yeah.
That game probably would have definitely been on my list if I've actually played it for more than 10 minutes, but the PC port for the original was just, it's horrible.
That's when I'm surprised they haven't done a remaster and just, like, released the first 3 on one disc for the updated consoles, because that'd be a good one to play.
EA likes money
with the high res graph.
Yeah, definitely.
All right, Donnie, you have the honor of being last here, sir. What is your horror honorable mention?
Well, I was really hoping I could tell everybody to run and go get it. It's half off, but it didn't make its way stateside today, and that would be Fatal Frame for the Wii U.
Oh boy, I remember those games.
Fatal Frame is a really good series, and kind of have like this Japanese kind of the Ring horror going with it, and it always deals with the spirit camera or the obscura camera, and you're always like taking photos of ghosts and stuff, and it's always been really good. And when the Wii U was made, it was one of those games that people looked at the Wii U and said it was made for this. Pokemon Snap, Luigi's Mansion, and Fatal Frame. And they made a Fatal Frame game for it. And it was never released physically here in the States, although it was released physically in the UK and Japan. And it's never went on sale either. So if you want to play this game on your Wii U, and it's a great Wii U game. It's one of the best games on the platform. Definitely one of the best exclusives. You have to pay $60 for it. And UK last week it was $19.99, and I would have bet the house that same Halloween sale would have come here today, but it did not. Sadly, it did not make its way over. But you know what? It's not the game's fault. The game is great. Played through the demo. I had a friend of mine that bought it. Watched him play it on his streams and talked to him about it. And I always just kind of sat there and waited on it. And it was one of those, when I traded the Wii U in, I was like, man, I really hope one day I get a chance to play this game. And when the thing didn't go on sale, I was like, you know what? Screw it. I'm happy that I'm moving on, because I can't wait around forever. But still, if you've got the Wii U and you're hanging on to it and you're looking for something to play that get a little scare, Fatal Frame is probably your best bet.
Excellent. So there you go, everybody. It's our selection of the things that go bump in the night, if you will, of our favorite horror creepy stuff. So then it's time to move on and check in on the news.
This week in Play Some Video Game News.
Donnie, why don't you start us off with a bit of news this evening?
Mark your calendars. January 12th, Nintendo's going to talk about the Switch. I mean, that's the biggest news story of the week, at least for me. They're going to do a big presentation. It's going to be a live stream. It's going to be in Tokyo, which I'm interested in. Like, are we going to get like English subtitles? Is there going to be an English version? Is it going to be in English? Is Reggie going to be in Tokyo? I have no idea. But that's when they're apparently going to showcase the games. They're going to announce the price, the actual date, still on schedule for March. So, yeah, it looks like they're just going to wait until January. Lacey, congratulations, you win the pot. And they're going to blow the lid off this thing first thing 2017. In my editorial,
I guessed that.
Yeah, you did. You guessed it a long time ago. And in my editorial, when I kind of walked through all of the things that are happening between now and then, it actually kind of makes sense. There's a lot of things happening. We've got an election, and there's like 5 or 6 huge video games that are coming, and college football and a Super Bowl, and everything's going to take place between now and then. So right. In terms of them getting headlines, that actually kind of makes a lot of sense for them to wait. I'll just go ahead and say this piece on this. Eurogamer also came out and said that the Nintendo Switch screen is 6.2 inches, 720p multi-touch, and the right Joy-Con is an IR sensor a la a Wiimote and has some sort of motion pointer, something kind of functionality in it. And so even though Kimishima said we weren't going to hear anything about the Switch until 2017, we're still hearing about it almost daily. Every day that passes. So, yeah. But mark your calendars. January's not that far away. So everybody enjoy your Halloween, enjoy your turkey, open some presents, and then turn your attention to Tokyo.
So since Jason won the pot, Donnie, that means you use some of that credit to buy him a Switch then, right?
No. I will buy him his version of Super Mario Bros. If his transfer, if the Wii U won't transfer over, I'll pick up one of his virtual console titles.
The original Super Mario Bros?
Mario Golf, the original one.
So you're punishing
not
him
the
then,
64
really,
version.
Right. That's just wrong. Oh, Jason, what do you got for news?
Well, Donnie, I know Donnie and I were probably going to touch on couple of the same things, so throw me on the Nintendo bus as well. Otherwise, gosh, man, this week's been a little bit of a blur. It's been hard for me to stay on top of things. But one thing I've got, sadly, this is newsworthy. Titanfall 2 is not going to have a season pass.
Ooh.
Everything's just going to be available and for free.
That's great.
They still do that?
Some games still do that.
Very rarely.
So, like, we're going to have all the modes, all the maps right from the start, or, the maps will be released and added in at no cost. So, I mean, especially with a shooter like that, that's going to have, a multiplayer shooter.
Yeah.
Do you think that gets anybody to switch their decision? I can only assume that's what they're trying to do, because they've got Gears and they've got Call of Duty and they've got Battlefield, Battlefield, right? Yeah, Battlefield 1.
Yeah, Battlefield.
Yeah,
Maybe,
so I mean, I don't think that causes anybody to be like, oh, I'm going to get this one now.
Yeah, especially because those are all three very different experiences.
It's a lot of shooters.
Maybe Call of Duty and Titanfall are slightly similar in a way. At least the base shooting can be, but then you get the whole Titans in there and stuff like that. But I mean, yeah, let's face it. Like, look what happened with Evolve. We heard all about all the possible DLC before we were getting all the details on the game. I was so happy to see that thing tank. And now I saw Turtle Rock. What is it? Turtle Rock's been removed from it, and it's just like, who's the other developer on that? Is it 2K?
Yeah.
Yeah. So they're taking the reins on that, and I mean, it's free to play. I'm still not gonna play it. And just like Star Wars. Like, I love Star Wars, but I don't own any of the DLC for that.
I got the Ultimate Edition.
Yeah, but you always just wanted though. You sat on it and you sat on it.
Yeah,
Like,
I've been sitting here this whole time. Nathan's like,
price.
Donnie, you need to get this game. I'm like, nope, not until I can buy everything that it has. Everything. I need to buy it all at one time, cheaper than $100.
Yeah, and you did.
But I'm excited to play it. I hope people are still playing it when I get it.
Well, the good thing is, there's another one coming, and they've got another movie on the horizon, which people are like, oh, Star Wars, I gotta play Star Wars. So that's what you got. It'll keep it going. But yeah, I'm happy to see that that's still the model that we're not going to see DLC and crap shoved down our throats, and some people are going to say, here's all the stuff, and we're just going to keep giving you stuff. So thank you to Titanfall 2 for doing that.
You can have all of the things.
Give me the things.
All the things. All right, Lucas, you're up next, sir.
Yeah. Well, for those listeners who are cheap like I am, you might want to take advantage of this deal that Target is offering. It's a buy two, get one free on video and board games. Runs from Sunday, October 30th to Saturday, November 5th. And there's a few stipulations, though. It's got to be in stock. So I'm guessing that means it's not an online deal or anything like that. And also, it's not clear if you can combine video and board games. Like, could you do 2 video games and a free board game?
Yeah, probably not, I would think, but you never know.
And then, of course, the cheapest of the 3 will be the one that is free. So always keep that in mind.
Yeah.
But hey, 2 new releases and a third one for free. Why not?
Nothing wrong with that. That's a good tip right there. I normally don't do news, but I will mention something only because I'm probably the only person on this episode, at least, that's excited for this, and that's Square Enix announced today that Kingdom Hearts 1.5 Remix and 2.5 Remix are coming to PlayStation 4 in a remaster, I guess you'd consider it, compilation that bundles all 6 games on a single collection.
Wow.
It's available right now for pre-order on Amazon. It will be dropping on March 28th, which is 2 months after the launch of Kingdom Hearts HD 2.8 Final Chapter Prologue. Yeah, if you're still listening and you follow Kingdom Hearts at all, it's the worst naming convention of things ever. But
is it coming to the Switch?
No.
Because when you say March, if it's not coming to the Switch, I don't care.
It's not. I mean, Kingdom Hearts 3 was supposed to be on PS4 and Xbox One, and they've already yanked the Xbox One support for it too. It's just historically been a PlayStation exclusive, other than some Nintendo handhelds. There were a couple on the
Switch
3DS.
gets Kingdom Hearts. Kingdom Hearts something. I bet it does.
I don't know. It's been in development for so long. I don't see them starting off now and trying to do it when it's been in the works for like 5+ years. But you never know. We might be surprised. But either way, you'll be able to play all of the Kingdom Hearts games then by March That'd be all, I guess, technically 8 games in if you break them down, but there's 6 on this one compilation for $50. So I'm excited because I did pick up for my PS3. I had the HD 1.5 remix, one that had 3 games on it. I didn't get to play too much of it before kind of just being like, I'm just going to play PS4 because this doesn't transition very well. But the trailer they released shows the gameplay footage. While graphically it doesn't look very different because the whole series is kind of animated anyway, it does seem to play better, and I think that's where I was more concerned with. I don't want to play what is clearly a PS2 game anymore. It just doesn't transition well nowadays. But this looks all brushed up and has me excited.
Did you
so
play
I'll be picking that one up in March.
Did you play the 3DS game?
Yes, I did. The most recent one in the 3DS was probably the only one worth playing on the Nintendo handhelds.
Because I've never done
all the other
Kingdom
ones
Hearts.
were kind of bad.
And
I've played most of the ones. I didn't play with the ones on the PSP.
there was a guy at my GameStop who was like, hands down. I mean, he was like a huge Kingdom Hearts fan. He was like, it's the best game on 3DS, and I'm like, I find that hard to believe, but he swears by it. And I watched a lot of videos of it. And I'm like, it doesn't look that good. He's like, I'm telling you, it's amazing.
It is pretty good. I will say it is definitely good, but it plays kind of almost the same complaints I had where it says it feels like a PS2 game. That feels like a PS2 game on a 3DS, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. That's pretty big scale, I guess, unless you compare it to something like Monster Hunter Generations or like.
That's what I was saying. Like I'm playing
that.
Smash, man. What are you talking about? PS2 I'm playing Wii U on 3DS.
yeah, but you know what I mean. Like as far as like the scope of the world, it's very large.
Oh, okay,
like,
I see.
You don't get that very much on the handheld. So far, I think the Switch is going to change that, but. Right, exactly. Like there's a few titles, but overall there's not much like it. But it was by far way better than they did some on the Game Boy Advance. They did it on the DS originally as well. They did different iterations, and those were not very good at all. But this last one they just did was good. So I'll be happy to revisit them and play them again. So we are back to Donnie or Jason. You guys got anything else for news?
Yeah, PlayStation Plus subscription games for November. Everybody's Gone to the Rapture, Deadly Tower of Monsters. PlayStation 3, you can get in Dirt 3 and Costume Quest 2. Little Quest Remaster coming to Vita, and Pumped BMX Plus coming to Vita. I actually like the Pumped BMX series, so that's good.
Yeah.
I played Gone to the Rapture and hated it. Now, Seth, just give him some word in here. When we talked about it, Seth loved the game, so you'd be your own critic, but I was not a huge fan of it. And then, in addition to those, Xbox also announced theirs, and they're getting Super Dungeon Bros, which looks incredible. That looks awesome. And Murdered Soul Suspect, which I have not heard good things about. What's the other one? Far Cry Blood Dragon, which I never played. And Kevin, you love this game, right?
Oh yeah, that was a lot of fun.
So you get those, and then Tales for Monkey Island coming. So those are your subscription game updates for November that'll be coming to you, in like 6 days-ish? Something like that, a week?
Yeah,
shortly.
Yeah, about a week. So
there you go.
Yeah, I'm excited for Rapture, so I'll be the tiebreaker then. So you hate it, Seth loved it. I've always wanted to play it, just never got.
That was one of those
Now
games I played with the wife, and I mean, she and I. That was probably the first game we were ever lockstep on. We were like, "This sucks." Like, we did not, and I was all in, man. I pre-ordered. I got the theme and everything. Like, I love the theme.
Oh, wow.
I watched everything. I was like, I'm gonna love this game, and just didn't. I got one more news story. I'll go ahead and burn it.
Go for it.
For those of you who've listened to the podcast for a long time, you know that I'm a PlayStation Vue subscriber. It's how I get my television. They're finally coming to PC. It's been a long time. I've been waiting for it. They don't have a PC client. They've had a mobile client, and then everything is like Roku, Apple TV, Chromecast, stuff like that. Well, they're finally coming to PC and Mac, so they're like browser-based client that you can run on your desktop.
Cool. All right, Jason, you have anything else before we wrap it up?
I got nothing else.
All right, then. So that brings us to the close of the show. But before we say good night and send you off into the darkness, if you will, we'd like to tell you where you can find us and plug some other stuff you might be interested in checking out. And we'll give the honor of kicking it off to our guest here, Mr. Lucas.
Oh, goodness.
Anything you'd like to plug, sir?
Sure. Well, obviously, Jason and I, we do a show. It's called Fluxtaposed. Sometimes we do things on YouTube. Sometimes we do things on audio. But you should check it out because we like to pretend like we're professionals. And along those lines, we also got a beer show that we're trying to get off the ground called Battle of the Beer. You can search it on YouTube. So if you're interested in watching two very professional beer tasters talk very professionally about beer and not make fools out of themselves, then you can check that out as well. It's a very light. It's not it's not very educational at all.
I feel like it's not a good beer show if you don't make fools of yourselves. Like that doesn't feel like that should be. You should get one with the other. A good beer show has hosts that make fools of themselves while drinking beer.
Then we have a good.
You should talk about. You should talk about the chemical components in the different types of beer.
Oh, right, and how they interact with each other, and food pairings,
absolutely.
And styles, and where they originate.
Dork.
Just do a special battle of the beer where it's like Lucas Nye, the beer guy, and just break it down.
I like it. Anything to drink more beer.
Absolutely. Where can people find you on Twitter if interested in following your hijinks?
Oh boy, at heavymetal_riff on the Twitterverse, and of course Fluxtaposed and BOTB show for those respective articles. I don't do very good at Twitter, as I think I've demonstrated plenty of times. So I don't know. I think I need to make I've said it before, and Jason knows this. I try to be more active, but it comes and goes. So.
It
right.
comes for
I've
that
known
day.
for that.
He says he's going to be active, and then it goes at the end of that day.
At the end of that day. That's right. I'm known to be that person around here in these parts as well. I'm not much on the Twitterverse. I don't quite get it, if you will.
Thank you.
But yeah, I'm right there with you. So, Jason, anything you want to plug that Mr. Lucas did not mention?
PlaySomeVideoGames.com. Go there, live it, love it.
I just thought there was gonna be more at the end of that sentence, but apparently not.
I think you need to cut that audio out and just use it as like a bumper or something like that. PlaySomeVideoGames.com.
Put some like jazz music behind it.
Yeah.
Go there, love it.
Go there, love it.
Live, laugh, love. The train has gone off the rails, ladies and gentlemen. So let's quickly throw it to Donnie. What do you got to plug?
And I'm going to drive this mother off the cliff. I'm going to throw a wrench into your whole little fancy ending here. We completely forgot to talk about Pokemon. Do you guys play the Pokemon demo?
Oh, I did.
Jason?
No,
you didn't play the
Pokemon? I've downloaded it, but I haven't even launched it yet.
I loved it. Kevin?
I didn't have any problems with it. It's still Pokemon. Did you play X or Y, Donnie, or have you been just?
Oh, no. I've played X, Y. I played Ruby, Sapphire. Played Yellow most recently. I mean, I've played a bunch of them. This one, you didn't like the movement? Like the non-grid based movement? Like
It's the same as it was in X and Y. That's why I kind of like it. Wasn't a bad thing. I'm not complaining. It just, to me, it's just X and Y in a different atmosphere for me so far. And then you got the Z moves and stuff. But
did you like the Z
the
moves?
Mechanics of everything, it seemed to be the same.
I thought the Z moves were awesome.
It's pretty. I'll give it. They are pretty cool. They're just really lame how they're executed, but it's pretty cool.
Did you like the Pokemon Snap thing?
I didn't really mess around with that feature. I'd rather have a regular Pokemon Snap game.
Well, I hope that comes into the game. I enjoyed it. I think the overall style of the game shows a lot more polish. A lot more polish.
Sure.
All of the animations are way better. The menus are streamlined. Like I really enjoyed. I was like, oh man, now I'm going to be able to play Pokemon like fast. Whereas before, like those games used to wear on me. It was like death by 1,000 paper cuts. You're like, oh my god, I've got to go into the menu, get the thing, come back, gotta reorder it, go back in, go back in. It was getting old. I really enjoyed this one. I was like, if this whole game plays this fast, where it's just like kind of like a mobile game, it's like tap tap go, tap 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 go, I'm gonna be way into it. So I'm real excited. It's like the big game on the horizon for me now. They've got Gears out of the way. I wouldn't say I've got Forza out of the way, but I've gotten my share of Forza. I'm just looking at Call of Duty and Pokemon, man, and I really, really like this Pokemon. I think this one is like the whole setting and the whole Pokemon twist and everything. Like it feels very fresh and new. Like I feel like I'm discovering something for once. It's been a long time since I felt that way. Even like with X, even with Sapphire, with the new Pokemon, it still just felt like the old ones. This one definitely feels new. And then all of the menu stuff and then the little visual tweaks, man. I'm just real excited. It looks like probably the best one yet.
So what Donnie's saying is his plugs is go play the Pokemon demo.
Pokemon, man. Yeah. There's tons of stuff.
That's the most passionate you've been this whole episode.
There's tons
about
of stuff
Pokemon
you can
demo.
carry over. Like, you can get Ash's Great Ninja, and you get all these Stardust. I don't even know what that means. But, like, I was excited because every time I came in, like, I didn't realize it. Somebody told me, or not told me, somebody said on Twitter, like, you know, if you check in every day, like, you get more stuff. And I was like, what? And I went back in and totally did. I got to ride, like, a Tauros and got to go up a mountain. I was like, wow, this is a pretty big demo. There's, like, people that are like, come back and meet me 4 days from now. Come back and meet me 8 days from now. Like, there's some stuff there. I think it was pretty neat. I don't know. Maybe I'm just a fanboy of Pokemon games, but I was into it. And I really enjoyed the demo. So it was way better than like X's demo. X's demo was like, beat a battle, go buy Pokemon.
Yeah, I don't think I played the demo for X. I just dove in and was like, I haven't played a Pokemon game since like.
If you had like a
Game Boy
4
Advance
or
or something.
5-year-old, like, this is the game. Like, you could just get them the demo and they
Yeah.
could just play it forever.
That's right.
That's it. No
Donnie's
plugs.
tricking his kids. I got your Pokemon Sun and Moon early. Here you go.
That's right.
Daddy, why can I only go to this one town? And why does the guy want to meet me in 8 days? That's
It's a
creepy.
small game. Now, there is a creepy old dude. Did you see that? I completely forgot about it. Did you see that, Kevin?
I don't
Kevin,
think so.
you got to
What a
keep
creepy
playing
old
this
dude.
game. Like, there's a part where you go up a hill, and literally you meet an old guy who, I kid you not, I almost took a picture and showed it to you. He leans out from behind a stone and stares at you, and then he introduces himself as the creepy old man. Like, I was like, how did this get in this game? That's a real thing that happens in that game. You have to go back and play the demo.
Is it like Herbert from Family Guy?
Yeah, kinda.
Would you like to play with my Pokemon?
I mean, you really got to go play the rest of the demo. When I traveled up the mountain, and it's like this like whole like you got to go up the mountain and like get your chakras aligned or whatnot. And like this dude peers out from the stone. I was like, what is going on? It was a
All
real
right,
trippy
I'll go
stuff.
back and check
It could
that
have been
out,
the
'cause
cough medicine. I'm just saying, it was pretty awesome.
Donnie was on the scissor. All right, so everyone go play the Pokemon demo. I'll go back and see if I can find the creepy old guy. That'd be fun. But as Jason said, please make sure to check out PlaySomeVideoGames.com. We've expanded quite rapidly recently, so we have a lot of new staff members on there, writing up some good things, doing a ton of reviews lately. So every day there seems to be at least 1 to 4 or 5 new things, depending on any given day. So make sure to bookmark that bad boy and check it out. As mentioned before, you can email us at podcast@playsomevideogames.com. Follow us on Twitter at PSVG. Like us on Facebook. Another thing we haven't talked about a little bit is give us a rating on iTunes. We've been lacking on any recent ratings. If you don't mind taking 5 minutes there and just logging into iTunes and just tell everybody about how awesome we are or about how lame we are, we'll take it either way. Let's just get those reviews going. So, continue to spread the good word, everybody. And while you're out there trick-or-treating, or if you're a parent like some of us here, you know, you take your kid out trick-or-treating and you go through the candy afterwards to, I'm making air quotes right now, check and make sure it's safe. But that really means you're going to take out all the stuff you want to eat and you just wait for them to go to bed and you eat it, make yourself sick. But while you're doing that, take some time out. Download the Pokemon demo, as Donnie says. Find some creepy old guys and never stop gaming.
Thank you for listening to Play Some Video Games, the official podcast.